Hi, welcome to the Premier Power Hour podcast. I'm Zach.
And I'm Billy, and we're here with Mackenzie Crigger, our sustainability manager. Hi.
Sorry. Hi.
Hi.
It's all right. And of course, we're on the Premier Power Hour podcast, the most popular true crime podcast on the internet.
That's it. We just got renewed for a third season. It's fantastic. Go check out those other
What season are we
seasons.
in? Do we do that? We don't really have
I
a
think
season.
we're episode 1000 by now, right?
Easily.
Impressive.
Absolutely. Yeah, listen to those ads. It helps us get paid. Mackenzie, I will say I knew you were coming on, and so I have one tie that has some green in it.
Oh, nice.
And so I brought that as a plug for sustainability because you are our sustainability manager.
Is it made from plastic?
This is. Oh, I'm not going to.
That would be neater.
It is dry clean only, so I don't know that it's the most sustainable tie out there. But it did make it on the trip here. Now, you like me are fairly new to Premier, is that right?
Yep, that's correct. I've been here, started in December.
Okay, and how did you get here?
I lived in California. I'm originally from Kentucky, but I'd worked in California in sustainability for about 10 years and was just ready for a change, ready for something different. And so started job hunting. And while sustainability skills are pretty transferable and you're typically doing very similar things, I was in higher education before, so coming to packaging was quite the change, but definitely a welcome change.
So when you say working in sustainability, what does that mean? Like, what does that actually mean? We talk about it's a buzzword in this industry. It's a buzzword just in general, in the zeitgeist, if you will. So, but what does it mean to actually work in sustainability?
So for me, working in sustainability is really about helping organizations reduce their carbon footprint, reduce their environmental footprint, and really make sure that we're able to do well as an organization, that we're able to make money, that we're able to provide a good quality of life for everybody that works for us. But at the same time, while we're making money, while we're doing good things, that we're also not harming the environment, or we're limiting the amount of harm that we inflict on the environment.
Nice.
How do you get into this? What was the
what's the
inception
okay, I'm
going to make sustainability a part of?
Oh, that's a great question. So I grew up in eastern Kentucky in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains, coal region. My grandfather owned a coal trucking company, and I spent a ton of time playing in the woods and spent a lot of time playing on top of strip jobs, and realized that, this very extractive process that has funded a very nice life for myself really was a problem. And so I got really interested in sustainability as a kid. I was building a solar oven in my backyard. God bless my parents.
Nice. Did it cook anything?
It did. It cooked hot dogs regularly when the neighbor's dog didn't eat them.
Slowly.
Yes.
It's a slow roasted hot dog.
Slow cooked hot dog.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Better than boiled.
Yep, exactly.
And how old were you when you did this?
I was about 8.
I love that.
A lot farther ahead than I was.
That is a great story, because you're living in a place where, yes, it provided a lifestyle for everyone in that region, yet it was destroying the land around them, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so when I got to college, I started taking environmental science classes, and through that process really started to understand, what if there could potentially be a career path for me. Thought I was going to go to law school and become an environmental attorney, and then instead really veered off the path and moved to Japan. And if you've been to Japan, it's a very small country. They have to be really conscious about how they manage their waste, how they manage their electricity. And so from there, I decided to go to business school and get an MBA in sustainability, because I really thought if I really actually wanted to make progress in this field, I needed to be able to help organizations make smarter decisions with how they spent their money and how they spent their resources.
How long were you in Japan?
3 years.
That's a podcast right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll save that for another time.
Okay. Yeah,
that in the oven.
Yeah, that in the oven. Yeah, I mean, slow roasting hot dogs, living in Japan for 3 years. That's quite a path.
It's quite an art
to come here to Premier.
It's now where I realize, at the table I'm the least cool guy here after hearing that story.
Don't sell yourself short.
All right, so you came to Premier with sustainability in mind. When you got here, what did you find?
Yeah.
I mean, what?
it's great to walk into an organization that's already collecting really good data, that's already really grounded in sustainability practices. And part of that is just the nature of our business. So much of our business is grounded in corrugate, which is coming from natural fibers. So we already have to think about, how are we procuring this? Is it coming from a source where we can continue to procure it? And the data that this organization collected, I've walked into lots of organizations to help with greenhouse gas emissions reporting, and the data that they're like, well, we think we do this, we're not really sure. But Premier has been so focused on logistics as well, that the data that has been captured over the course of this business is, it really sets the organization up to be really sustainable and to be able to make good decisions about how we manage our carbon footprint.
Nice. After looking at some of the data that you've already seen, what would you say are some of Premier's achievements in the sustainability space?
A big thing for us, really, I think it speaks volumes to how this organization thinks about sustainability. But if you just take a look around at our headquarters, it was built on a brownfield site, and we spent several $1 million cleaning the site, doing water treatment to make sure that the water that is coming off the site is clean. Then when we built our headquarters, we really focused on energy efficiency, sustainable business practices, and we used, one of the big selling points is, the concrete that makes up our parking lot was concrete that was from the existing building that was here.
Got it.
And so when you see that an organization is so committed to sustainability that they're thinking about sustainability in a different way, they're not just thinking about, this is what we're providing to a customer, but we have internalized into our own business practices. That really makes it easy to talk about sustainability here, and it's not a big push. People are already interested in it. Lots of organizations, selling sustainability becomes very difficult. But at Premier, if you can illustrate an ROI, if you can help our accounting department understand how some of the sustainability initiatives that we take on or decisions that we make will increase our bottom line, it's a much easier conversation, because there's already that mindset of looking to the future, asking why we do something, and really just thinking forward about where we want to be, not only next quarter, but in 5 years, in 10 years.
Yeah, I think ultimately that's probably the hard question that you get, the rebuttal that you get most often is, cool, everybody, yes, sustainability would be great, but is it at all profitable? Can we make any money, or is it just a sunk cost? And can we even fix the environment anyway, or is it already a lost cause?
So several great questions in there. So yes, we can rectify some of the damage that's already happened, but we have to act quickly, and that's part of what Premier recognizes. They said, okay, we have to start making decisions now. We have to start cataloging what we've been doing. And as I said, Premier was already doing a ton of sustainability stuff. We just weren't talking about it. We weren't cataloging it. We weren't understanding what we were doing. And so when I walked in, it became really evident that, I don't actually have to try to change the culture here. I don't have to try to start collecting this data. I just need to collect it and use it in a way that helps us make decisions.
Yeah.
And so,
No, that's you came to a receptive environment and company that was already doing some good things. What are the things that what are the challenges that we have? What are the things that we can do to improve what we're doing now?
Yeah. So the biggest challenge for us, like any organization, is around our Scope 3 emissions. And when we say Scope 3 emissions, what we mean, so greenhouse gas emissions are really broken down into 3 categories. So you have Scope 1, things that are actually happening on site. So, forklifts that are powered by propane, that's a Scope 1 emission. Right. If we had a power plant on site, that would be a Scope 1 emission. Scope 2 emissions are any purchased electricity. So, the electricity that's powering the lights, the electricity that's powering the machines, all that stuff. That's Scope 2. Those types of things are much easier to control. We can put renewable energy in. We can purchase renewable energy. But it's those Scope 3 emissions, so around transportation. So any of our 3PLs, being able to track their transportation, that's a challenge for us. And we're starting to get creative about how we think about that and the things that we look at. And technology's getting better. You're seeing electric trucks become much more common, especially for anything 250 miles or shorter. And a lot of our short-term distances are really within 150 miles. So options like that, as technology gets better, become much more feasible for us to control those things. But, we have sales folks that fly, I fly at least once a month for Premier,
Right.
Offsetting those carbon emissions, I can't fly in a solar-powered plane.
No.
So at that point, those types of emissions are things that we have to buy a carbon credit for.
Got it.
So that's where the challenge comes in.
You'd mentioned that we were already tracking some of this stuff ahead of time, but didn't necessarily know what we had. It correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like pretty much anybody can do it. It's not that hard to actually track this stuff,
Yeah.
or is it hard? And how would somebody go about? Let's say that somebody's out there and they do care about this, but they don't know what the first step would be towards tracking this to actually make a change. What would you recommend? Where would you recommend they start, and how would they start doing that?
So my first recommendation is start tracking your scope 2 emissions, because
Okay.
that's really easy. You can get all of that data from your utility company.
Okay.
Scope 1 emissions can be a little tricky depending on how you procure some of that stuff.
Okay.
So for us, propane tracking is a little bit of a challenge because it's tracked in a couple different places. So you
Sure.
have to pull it from different spots.
Now here we're pretty much all electric. on
Yeah,
our
pretty much
forklifts,
here
right?
we're all electric. We have a handful of forklifts that are still propane powered. And those are switching out
very
as
cool.
they become obsolete, or as our lease contracts are up with those.
Gotcha.
So, but yeah, it's really, the things that become much more challenging. We track all of the mileage around our 3PLs and all of our distribution, but what we were tracking the mileage for was around logistics, which is really important because the leaner we can make that, the easier it is to reduce that carbon
Sure,
footprint.
absolutely.
But that's not what they were using it for. But I can take that same data that's already being collected and use it to calculate our carbon footprint.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
2 birds, 1 stone.
Exactly.
Okay. Very nice.
Can I say that it is such a breath of fresh air to be talking about sustainability, because usually it's just me and Zach.
Yeah.
I think half the time we're making stuff up.
Well,
Or guessing.
Let's redact that part.
But you make me feel
but
good.
we're not the expert. I mean, we have a sheet of data and we're taking the knowledge that we've gathered from our life. So to have an expert,
But this makes me feel good. It makes
Oh
me
my
feel-
gosh.
gives me hope.
somebody that we can point to for questions and answers.
What do you like about working for Premier?
Honestly, the collaboration that is here is great. Anytime I show up to somebody's office or I send somebody an email, the response that I get is overwhelmingly helpful. And oftentimes I'm asking someone to either generate information for me, and I'm asking for people to do more work for me.
Right,
and they're happy to do it. They're like, hey, what do you need? How can I help? And so it's really nice to walk into an atmosphere where people actually care about sustainability, and they want to help me do my job.
Feeling supported.
Yeah.
Exactly.
People who care. Now, obviously, you care about this.
Yes.
It's not just a job for you. I imagine that you are quite sustainable in your home life as well. Is there any pro
solar
tips?
ovens.
Yeah. For those of us that cannot design a solar oven, is there any kind of pro tips, any products out there? Now, we can't name names, but any cool or unique sustainability products out there that you use within your own home?
Oh yeah. So I mean, I could get on my soapbox real quick about this kind of stuff.
Have at it. This is what
This is
If
my
we can
time.
just push away and just allow you to take us home. Yeah.
So for me, one of the things that I've always done, and I think it's really important to find sustainability swaps that work for you, because if you're doing something and it doesn't work in your life, then what's the point?
Yep.
You know, if it's making things harder, or if you don't like it, like, don't do it. Like, do something else. So the way that I've always approached it is I took different areas of my house. So I started in my bathroom, and I was like, okay, I'm going to get all plastic out of my bathroom. And I started with my dental routine, and I was like, okay, I can get a bamboo toothbrush. I can get toothpaste tablets that are shipped to me carbon neutral in a container that I can compost.
Okay, so hold up.
Toothpaste tablets.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
that
yeah.
one's new to me. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, they're great. There are several different companies make them. Just Google toothpaste tablets. Several will come up. And
Pop a tablet. And
Yeah,
I know I can
yeah.
Google it, but I'm very interested.
no,
Can
it's
you just
like,
tell me now?
yeah,
how it
it's
works?
absolutely like it's a little tablet. It looks like an Altoid or a Tic Tac.
Okay.
Pop it in your mouth, chew it up a little bit, and then brush your teeth with it. It
And
works.
you're foaming at the mouth.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
fascinating.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Okay, so then how would you replace? Okay, so I'll give you a hard one.
Yeah.
What about dental floss?
So dental floss, I actually have a refillable dental floss container. It's glass, and then I can buy the refill. Yeah, I can buy the roll, and the roll that I buy, you can buy 2 different kinds. There's one that's vegan, which ironically is not compostable because lots of vegan things are actually made with fossil fuels. That's a whole different discussion.
Wow.
Very strange. Yeah.
What is floss made of? Then? What is it normally made of?
So
I just was
it's usually
assuming
made
it
of
wasn't.
plastic.
Plastic.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like
Mint-coated plastic.
exactly. That's just think about
Yeah,
that. You're
that
just
makes
rubbing
me
your
feel a
gums
lot
with
worse
plastic.
about that. Yeah. Okay. So then what? So this is this. There's some stuff that's vegan, but
Yeah.
might not be
Yeah.
the greatest.
Well, and so the one that I use, it's not the vegan version. So it's not the vegan version, but it will you can compost it. So,
Okay.
And then you buy it in a little tiny container. Comes in a little cardboard container. You can. I mean, I've even started to see it in places like Target and Walmart.
Because I was literally just about to ask, where does
Right.
somebody go to get a refill of this
Yeah, or you can always find it online. Somebody will ship it to you.
on the line? There's this
Yeah.
thing called the
On
internet.
on the interwebs. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that. Okay. Good
So
to
there's
know.
so much. We were talking offline a little earlier about just composting,
Mm-hmm.
which fascinates me because I don't know why I don't do it, and
It's so easy.
I have gardens and stuff, and it's,
And it will make your plants taste so much better.
Really.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And so it's very easy to compost at your house. And if you just get some kind of, I happen to have a bamboo container I keep by the sink.
Okay.
Throw everything in it. And I'm a vegetarian, so I don't really have to watch what I put in there.
Okay.
Avoid putting meat in it, only because it will smell and attract rodents.
It gets a little
Okay.
nasty.
Yeah, it gets a little nasty, but you can pretty much throw anything in there.
Vegetable scraps,
Yep.
coffee grinds,
Even like
eggshells.
corrugate cardboard.
Oh, I didn't. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So and actually, when you compost, you really need a mix of green and brown. And so when we think of green, think of like organic material.
Okay.
When you think of brown, think of like grass clippings, even though they are green, like grass clippings or cardboard, paper shreds, that kind of stuff.
Interesting. You need a mix of green and brown. I mean, I'll be honest, I don't compost yet.
Yet?
But I had never even heard that.
Yeah, but it's super easy, and
How long should you let it? I mean,
How long do you let it ruminate?
Yeah.
Yes, ruminate.
Yeah.
Great
It
word.
Kind of depends. It usually takes about 3 to 6 months to get it really going. But once it starts going, you'll be surprised at how
Works
quickly it works itself.
Okay.
So
and
you take it out from the little small bamboo canister outside.
yeah, dump it
into a
outside.
Pile or
I actually have because I have a dog that loves to get into everything.
Yeah.
So I do not have an exposed compost bin. Mine is it's actually a 2-chamber big round bin, and it's really easy to turn. I used to have one that that stood up on legs, and they were always broken and just a problem. And so because it's 2-chambered, I can feed one chamber and have one chamber that's just constantly ruminating, and so I can always have fresh dirt to pull out to put into my garden.
That's
Need to
amazing.
Try this.
Yeah.
Need to-
It's very
There's my
easy.
goal for
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. My wife and I bought our house a year and a half ago, and so amidst all of the projects, one of those is a garden. So
No. Well, here you go.
apparently you can grow things in Arizona.
We got a lot of sun.
You got a vegetable
A
garden.
lot of
Yeah.
you can
You
have
Yeah.
certainly.
Yeah.
And you can have chickens too. I would not
Plants
have
like-
thought. Yeah.
Get some chickens.
So that's-
I want
that's
chickens
her
so
dream.
bad.
That's
Yeah.
intense.
No.
That's-
It's a little much. No roosters
No.
within
No.
the city limits.
Wake you up.
That is against the rules.
Is
but
it? Okay.
I'm
just
shocked.
just a bunch of hens in there
Yeah.
going to work for you. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What-
Now,
Go, please. Go ahead. If I don't want to step on your.
no, you weren't. No, please,
Okay.
you started.
What do we have in life that is not sustainable that should be? What are we missing out
Oh,
on?
good.
Oh, that's such a good question.
See, this
so,
is why I wanted you to go. I didn't have one that good. Yeah.
It was on the paper.
Is it? Haven't got there yet. Okay.
one thing that I'm really passionate about is around sustainability transportation. I had an electric car when I lived in California, but in Kentucky it was really just not feasible. partly because my dad lives in the far eastern part of the state, and so
No chargers.
There are no
right?
chargers.
Yeah.
There's no chargers on the way. I was like, well, I could stop at his friend's house and charge, but I'm gonna have to spend the night with Jack and Emily in order to get on home because it takes 8 hours to charge my car. And so really having a better sustainable transportation infrastructure would be fantastic.
And it looks like we're moving that
We
way,
are.
right? I mean, things are inexorably hurtling towards
absolutely.
electric cars.
And certain parts of the country, it's already there. You know, Southern California, New York, it tends to really be, the coast.
Okay, I have a theory. Correct me if I'm wrong. There's a ton of these electric vehicles in where I live in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Way more than in the Pacific Northwest where I lived before. Is part of that maybe because solar panels are everywhere in Arizona, and so basically the sun is fueling their vehicle?
Yeah, I'd say that's a big piece
win.
of it.
Come on,
Yeah.
that's a huge win.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
Well, and the other thing too that you see in the Pacific Northwest too that contributes to not seeing as many electric vehicles up there is, it's only been recently that you've gotten a decent range with an electric vehicle, and there's a lot of hiking, there's a lot of outdoor activity, and people drive much further distances.
Right.
So.
Yep, absolutely.
Bigger
Any hike,
states.
any hike worth anything where we lived was about an hour at least
Right.
away.
Yeah.
For sure. So, if you see somebody throwing something that is recyclable in the garbage, and it never happens here, but just
Never,
as a
never.
hypothetical, what do you stop? You wait till they leave, put it, or do you say, hey,
Tackle
hi,
them. Tackle
hi,
them.
nice to meet you. I'm Crigger. I'd like it if you changed the way you did things.
You
How
wait
do
until
you
they
go about it?
leave, and then you fix their mistake, or what's the...
So, I mean, what I've started doing is I just stop them and try to nicely say, hey, did you know? Like, I know recycling's really confusing, and it is because it's different everywhere. I say, hey, did you know if you recycle this, like this part can be recycled, this part can't? Or the other thing I'd really try to help people not do is throw things into the recycling bin that really shouldn't be recycled, because that can contaminate the recycling stream. And I found that, one day, this was when I was in graduate school, but I yelled at one of my friends. I was like, that's not that. And she was like panicked. And I was like, okay, that is not the right approach, but.
And we've never talked since. No.
But I bet she recycles now.
She does
knows
recycle
exactly
now.
how to do it. Yeah.
Something just occurred to me. Is it for the environment? Is it a good thing if you're a hoarder? If you just don't throw anything away, you're not making any kind of terrible impact, right? If you just keep it in your house, I think those are good.
Well, I would make the argument that if you have something in your house that someone else can use, you're better off to donate that
donate it, okay.
where it can go to be used. But I'm also a big fan of just try not to consume as much. There are lots of things that we can avoid consuming, but we live in a really fast-paced society where we
love our stuff.
We love our
Yep.
stuff. There's a lot of making things as convenient as possible, and that's not always as sustainable as possible.
Yeah, I often say about that, maybe every gas station in America, doesn't have to sell almonds. I mean, that's
Yeah.
Do we need pistachios everywhere?
It's a great
Probably
question. I mean, that industry would say yes, but
They would. They
yeah.
would. I hope we don't box anything up for almond folks, but
I don't- yeah.
almond farmers.
Yeah,
We're getting there, man.
we're I think we've touched on a lot of really good things and a lot of tips, at least that I'm taking away from this, and I hope other people have as well. So thank you so much for your time. That's all the time we have today. Thanks so much for joining us here at the Premier Power Hour. Until next time, have a great day.
Questions or ideas about this topic? If so, we'd like to hear from you. Please visit primpack.com/podcast to let us know what you think. Thanks.